Hey everyone, how's it going? So about 8 months back, I posted a video discussing my opinion on the state of Dirty Bomb and why it started to become stale and boring for me after playing for so long. Now, I don't remember if I said or not in that video, but with 2017 being the year Dirty Bomb finally cut their ties with Nexon and gained full ownership of their title back, I wanted to give them a full year to show me what they could do with that power in that time. And with it being a little under just half a year since they cut off ties with Nexon, I thought I'd give a quick look at some of the progress that's been made so far. Now, the most recent update to come to Dirty Bomb is the Shell Shock event, which is live right now, and I've also made a quick video detailing some of what's come with it if you want to check that out. Link will be in the description for that. But with this event, we've finally seen the release of Turtle and a brand new map which has been named Vault. Everyone think this is very cool since I don't remember ever actually having a public playtest of Vault anytime before it was fully released. And like I said, we finally have Turtle as a playable character. Now, you might argue that it's not too impressive to see Turtle's release since we have been strung along about its potentiality for a number of years now, and I'll also make a small reference to the last map that was added to the pool very recently as well, Dockyard. And you might say, well, they've been holding on to the assets for those pieces of content for a long time, they were bound to release them eventually, and yes, you'd definitely be right about that, but the fact that they have been held on to for so long and only actually been released under Splash Damage's full rights to Dirty Bomb shows me that there's a good sign that Nexon might have been holding back SD on doing a lot of things. And that's not just it either. I mean, we're still yet to see a rework of the cosmetic system if that ever arises, or if we'll ever see trade-ups again, but something tells me that the trade-up system is still a possibility, only for the fact that one of the new Steam achievements directly references the trade-up system, and why would a brand new Steam achievement that was made far after the crafting system launched, why would it even bother to mention the trade-up system, since that system has been out of the game for such a long time? Well, you never know. Hopefully we'll get some news on that soon. But still, a new playable Merc, 2 new maps, one of them completely brand new out of the blue, is a good sign of things to come. It was even discovered in the game files that another map is on the way, and that another Merc may in fact be being worked on right now as well. Some very careful and thought out hints have been spoken about this in order to not reveal too much anyways. Also, Dome was just removed too in order to be reworked again, so I can't wait to see both that and the new map that's coming, which is codenamed Castle at this point, by the way. And no, Dome isn't being reworked to have different lighting effects like it was the last time during the Mofo update. As far as I'm aware, the map design itself is being reworked to have better game flow since it's the least picked map at this time, probably due to how big and open it is. Also, it was kind of nice to have some new Dockyard-inspired unlockable trinkets before the map was released, yet I feel like it would have made more sense to release those trinkets during the same time as the map, but I completely understand the reason behind doing it how they did, because not only does it continue building hype for the soon-to-be-released map, but it also gives you something to work towards in the downtime between these large content updates. But speaking of downtime, one thing that I was personally very surprised and happy to see was the very short change time between Ranked Season 2 and 3, considering the huge gap in time between Ranked Seasons 1 and 2. Having Season 3 be launched only a few weeks after the end of Season 2, bringing with it a new map in the form of Dockyard after its eventual release, and a new set of skins, which I think look pretty damn good, by the way. There are no Containment War skins, but there's something about dark gray and sharp yellow color schemes that I really like in these skins, but honestly I don't think any skins really compare to the Containment War variants. God, I would love a chance at getting some Gen 2 versions of those skins. Probably pay top dollar for them, especially for a 383 Sparks. Anyways, still speaking of ranked, you can now queue with 3 and 4 man squads, no longer being locked into only solo, duo queues, and 5-man queues only, which sounds quite good actually, but from what I hear it has been a bit of a problem, considering you will probably be paired up against a 5-man pre-made team of high skill leveled players, while you might only be a couple of friends of average skill levels. This I can only assume will be considered and fixed with Season 4, but we'll have to wait and see until then. One thing I am a little disappointed in though is that we haven't seen a casual matchmaking public test in a while. I think the last one we had was in January, which is almost 7 months ago now, and I would love to see more of those just to know that this is still a feature that is being worked on. I don't know exactly what the workflow at Splash Damage is like, but for a game like Dirty Bomb, I think CMM should be of somewhat relatively high priority. However, the game has been doing just fine without it, but I can only imagine how many more players would be playing if they could team up in pubs with their friends. I say this only because many of my friends, including the one who even showed me Dirty Bomb to begin with, have stopped playing. Not exclusively for the reason that we can't pair up together in pubs, but it's definitely one of those major factors that turn them away from long-term playing. A casual matchmaking system would really be nice, but considering the state of pubs as it is, I'm not sure how much it will help. It's mostly a few good players paired up with a lot of scrubs, and most matches end up with at least 2 or 3 vote shuffles being called in, which are honestly more often than not being called in by one single butthurt noob who repeatedly starts them because he can't stand the fact that he's losing and would rather chance a shuffle at getting put on a winning team. Because in all honesty, vote shuffles have never once, at least not for myself personally, fixed match balance. I've been stomping another team as defenders, and during the last minute they decide to call a vote. The teams get switched, and then we steamroll our way through the objectives as attackers. I've also been on the other end. My team has been getting dominated, then one salty player decides to vote shuffle, it passes, and either nothing noticeable changes, or we still end up getting destroyed, but we switch sides. So, I mean, a casual matchmaking system would be great, but considering the low amount of players in specific surge or regions during non-peak hours, the system would have to search through all the available servers at a ping limit you set, and that limit would have to be fairly high if you wanted to take full advantage of the feature of matchmaking in the first place. Because like I said, there aren't really enough players to really warrant a CMM in the first place, at least not in specific server regions, but that's just my best guess. But one thing that I am really quite excited about is the addition of more staff members to the Dirty Bomb team. This means, at least in theory, that more content can be worked on faster, depending on where the resources are allocated, which means we will get new stuff more frequently, and since that change has happened, we have been getting some more stuff more frequently. At least so it seems. I would definitely like to see more viable model-changing skins in the game. The Obsidian Merc pack that came out recently was a really cool thing that I would love to see happen more. However, I wish there was a better way to release these, because at least with the 3 that they released for Artie, Stoker, and Fletcher, the loadouts for each Merc weren't exactly the most ideal. I mean, they aren't necessarily bad loadouts, especially the Fletcher one, that was pretty damn good. Arguably, there aren't really many objectively bad Gen 2 loadouts either. It's mostly down to subjective preference at that point anyway, but I think a lot of people were discouraged from buying these loadouts just because they had to hard commit to a loadout that they probably didn't like, just to take advantage of the model changing skin, or just to add them to their collection. I know I was one of those people. And at least for future releases like this, it would be nice to be able to possibly pick the loadout that you want, considering you're spending a pretty penny on them in the first place, and more people would be inclined to buy them at that point, which means more money for the company. I mean, if you're putting these cards up for sale in the first place, why wouldn't you want to try to take advantage of having as many sales on that product as possible? But either way, I would love to see more model-changing skins in the future. I think the cosmetic system is one thing long-term players are invested in, and giving back to and satisfying those appetites will not only keep players excited and happy, but further the game's development if marketed properly. And while speaking of marketing choices, I guess I should mention that some new starter packs have been also added to the Steam store for Dirty Bomb, which is kinda cool, but I do have a couple things to say about those. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the amount of equipment cases you receive during some of the higher tiered packs, but we'll get to that. I think my biggest gripe with these packs are the low amount of credits that you do get with them. I think at the old packs you would get like, an average of 50,000 credits, I think? I might be remembering that wrong, but let's look at the first tier pack for a minute. For about $20 US, you get 5 mercs, which is already a decent savings, even if 4 of those 5 mercs are the cheapest you can actually buy. 5 equipment cases, a 6-hour credit booster, and 15,000 credits. Now, the credit booster itself is kind of negligible unless you play ranked on a double credit weekend and take full advantage of it, but besides that, I don't really think that 15,000 credits is really enough to give new players in a starter pack. I mean, they wouldn't have enough fragments to craft anything really with the absurdly expensive credit costs in the first place if they are new, but at least a larger credit bonus like maybe 30,000 would make more sense. And if you weren't to do that, remove those useless 5 equipment cases and throw in a single combined elite case instead. That would be a much better value in my opinion. The other 2 higher tiered packages follow the same sort of trend, where there just seems to be too many equipment cases and not enough credits being given, but honestly, that's all just my opinion. Alright, now this video is getting to be a lot longer than I actually expected it to, so I'm going to try to wrap it up here with a couple more things that I want to talk about before the conclusion. Custom crosshairs have finally been added to the game, and I love this fact. There's so much more flexibility in terms of personalizing your own game and finding what works best for you, and I don't really have anything negative to say about this. While it would be awesome to have a custom crosshair engine as flexible and as personable as the one in CSGO, for example, the fact that you no longer have to use third-party overlays to add a static crosshair image layered on top of your game is awesome. You can directly upload your very own custom images straight into the game, and they've even added so many more in-game static and dynamic options for you to choose from. This is one update that I've personally been waiting on for a while, and I was extremely pleased with its release. And sadly, there is no new news about anything being done about the crafting system or reintroducing the old trade-up system, but like I said previously, it has been kind of hinted at that it's still highly considered for a future update. We did get another crafting week not too long ago, last month actually, and the last one before that was a full 13 months ago, during August of 2016. So it would have been nice to see at least one more of those crafting weeks in between that time period, but I guess I'm not too fussed about it. Anyways, I think the end of this video became more of a critical overview of some things instead of hype it, just some of the latest things that have been coming to Dirty Bomb, and honestly this video was more meant to be about how far Dirty Bomb has been coming along since Splash Damage broke their ties with Nexon. And the conclusion that I can best come to right now, at least with everything that we've seen since the change, is that things are looking damn good for the future. I'll have to make another recap video at the beginning of next year to see what else has changed and how much improvement we see in progress towards an eventual full release and a marketing push for Dirty Bomb, because I still fully believe that this game has the potential to become a huge title, but it's all up to how the development and marketing process is taken. And I think keeping the players in mind, especially when talking about retaining players and keeping your long-term veterans of the scene happy instead of just trying to appeal to new faces who will simply just pop in and drop out at a moment's notice, are big things to consider. I'm just speaking from the heart as a diehard fan of this game. I want to see this game succeed and be a part of the big stage because it really is a fun and awesome game. I wouldn't have stayed playing it for so long if I didn't love it and believe in it so much. But before I drone on for another 15 minutes, I better end this video soon so I can get to bed because I gotta work in the morning. So thank you to everybody for watching, especially if you've made it this far into the video. I hope you've enjoyed hearing my thoughts and listening to me ramble about some stuff. And let me know some of the thoughts that you feel. Like, Dirty Bomb's come a long way since the cut with Nexon. Do you feel like there's gonna be a lot more awesome things coming in the future? Let me know. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. But until then, as always, take care, everyone.